Hey, what's up? It's your boy Big Game James. And before we get started, remember, subscribe and also hit that bell so you get notified every time we drop brand new content. This is Games Journeys to the Draft. Games Journeys to the Draft is brought to you by Totally Fresh. Totally Fresh, the male hygiene deodorant that's 100% organic and helps keep you fresh in those areas that other things just don't reach. So I want to do a series because I've often got questions about what it was like going through the draft process. And let me say, it was one of the most stressful times in my life because it was at a point in time in my life where I had no real big priorities and responsibilities in life. All I had to do was do my best on the football field and pray that I would be rewarded with a chance to play in the NFL. And I did receive that chance. But the process is a little bit different. So I decided to come up with something called Games Journey to the Draft, which is just a little three-part shorts of my draft experience leading up until draft weekend. You know, the draft has changed a lot. Draft is now prime time. Thursday nights it gets kicked off and runs for 3 days, and it's a big experience for these young men. And I'm happy for all of them to have this chance to live their dream. But I just wanted to do something that kind of connected my viewers and listeners to me to let you know what it was like for me during the time that I came out in the draft. So part one is going to be the agent process. So, you have a good season and you start knowing that you have a chance when general managers start calling your university, your coaches, and your sports information department, getting information on you. Also stopping by, talking with you in film room during the season at different points of time. And you start realizing that, hey, I might have a chance for this thing to happen. But then, out of nowhere, the floodgates will open and agents started coming out of nowhere. And this was a real crazy process because back in the late 90s, technology was just getting to where email was popular and working, and these guys were finding ways to get email addresses, calling phone companies, trying to get phone numbers because there wasn't a whole lot of cell phones back then, unless you had that dope boy block phone like Too Short and them had in the music videos. So they would go and do anything they could to get a hold of you, and even to where it's just sending questionnaires and letters and all this stuff. So the agent process started. My pops and I talked about how we were going to handle the situation, and we had just kind of we just kind of determined that we weren't going to really sit down and meet with a bunch of agents till after my final game my senior year. That's just kind of what we came up with. So if anybody called during the season, a lot of time I would refer those phone calls back to my pops in California to let him handle those phone calls and start setting up the meetings and everything. But it's funny because when you talk to a lot of people, the first thing they think of when you say agent is Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire, and they thinking, show me the money. And that part comes later, and it's a great entertainment point in the movie, but it's really different when you're a young player coming out, especially when you're slotted to go from the third round through the seventh round. So you got different tiers of agents. You got your big boys in the game who's still in the game, like a Drew Rosenhaus. And back in the, you got a Eugene Parker. Then you got guys you got to watch out for. Some guys came out back in the day, promising guys what they can do, stole power of attorney, took millions of dollars from young men, but they house them with cars and jewelry early on. And, you will get that process. The agent process will come out. They'll tell you what they can do for you. They can tell you how they can help you get drafted. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that most young people fall into. An agent can help with certain things, especially nowadays. Your marketing campaign is big, and you can make so much money on the marketing side, along with playing the game, to where that's where your agent and your marketing team is going to really work for you. They're going to help get you those endorsement dollars and things outside of football. But realistically, to me, and even speaking with agents I'm still close with and talk to, a lot of it, your play is going to determine what happens with you in that draft, that you are just to be seen. If your tape is out there and teams that have do their due diligence in their scouting departments, you're going to get your chance. No, if anybody comes and says, "Hey, we're going to get you drafted," they're lying. They can't get you drafted. They may get you seen, but your ability and your talent is going to be what gets you drafted. And so many people fall between the cracks thinking, "Oh, I didn't go to the NFL because my agent sucked." If you didn't go to the NFL, it's because you probably just didn't have the tools that it took to make it. And that's no knock on anybody, man. This is hard. Less than 3% of people, less than 1% of people in this country, this world, ever have a chance to play in the National Football League. So, it's slim to no. I mean, it's hard. But I have a lot of great memories and experiences, and I just remember the process of being called, being courted, and I was very tempted at one point in time. Guy called me, was like, "Hey man, we really want you to sign with us, and what do you want? We can get you custom jewelry. What kind of car you like?" I was talking to someone else. They said that you really wanted a Chevy Tahoe. I can get you a blacked out Chevy Tahoe, or what is it that you want? How much money do you need? And the thing is, I already was schooled on game from some other people that I talked to that, anything you borrow and take from an agent, you owe them that when you get drafted. So here it is. You'll take all these cars, this jewelry, this money, these suits, right? And as soon as you get drafted, and as soon as that your contract is negotiated and you get that signing bonus, you get that invoice from your agent saying what you owe him for everything he gave you in the off season. So I did go through the selection process. I made a couple of different trips. I had a couple of agents flew me out. It was after the season, so everything was over. Nothing was illegal through NCAA guys. But, I flew out to Atlanta. I met with some agents in Atlanta, California, and some guys from Detroit. At one point in time, I really thought that, being an African-American, I wanted to give an African-American agent a chance. And, big name like Eugene Parker never really got back with me or talked to me because he was big time Deion Sanders agent, and he had a lot of big wigs, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it worked out because I ended up with the firm that I was supposed to end up with, a company out of California. Man, they did a great job. They schooled me of what to expect along the way. They kept it all the way 100 with me. They never lied to me about. They never said one time, "James, we're going to get you drafted. That's what we do." They told me different things that could help me get as far as outside of football, putting me in contact with the right financial firm, people like that, different kind of shoe deals when I did get signed. But it was never a promise of the moon. And up front, like, "Hey, if there's anything you need, let me know. But we will have to recoup this in the end." So I was never like, "Oh man, look at me, I'm iced out. I got the Rolex, I got the NFL chain," and all of a sudden I got hit with a secret bill. I was very close to taking that vehicle from this, when I got with it. I said, "Hey, this other agency offered me a car." And he's like, "Yeah, I could get you a car, but it's going to cost you this because I got to pay the bill until you get paid." I was like, "I'm cool with the car I got." So I kept rolling my little 1987 Dodge Ram mini truck. Yep, I had a mini truck, y'all. And if y'all saw my big butt in it, you would have died laughing. The agent process came. My father and I, like I said, I picked a guy named Lee Collegian out of California, Mouthpiece Sports. He worked with a lot of boxers. He'd worked with Keyshawn Johnson for a while. Vaughn Parker, offensive tackle for the San Diego Chargers. J.R. Redmond. A lot of different people, man, that was kind of mid to late tier guys, but did a really good job when it came to the renegotiation and new contracts. He was good at that. So, and he had a guy that was just so persistent in his work that we're best friends to this day. He's my kid's godfather. He's still in the business of being a sports, of an agent and working with people. But my man Elijah Smith was just a straight go-getter. And even when I told him that I wasn't going to interview any agents until after the season to, call my stepfather, my pops in California, with any questions, he would still reach out to me about once a week. So he might just shoot me an email, quick call, "Hey, just checking on you, big fella. Everything going good? How your workouts going? If you need anything, let me know." So by the end of the process, going into these interviews, I'd already had things made up in my mind that I thought that Mouthpiece Sports was going to be the right company for me, and that these were going to be the right guys to work with to help me, transition from college to the NFL. they never overpromised, but they always over delivered for me, and so it was a great process for me. I didn't have anybody run around. I didn't have to scream, get on the phone. I didn't make nobody say, "Show me the money" or anything like that. No crazy catchphrases, but the whole process, man, is just when I think back on it and look at it, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time, a little bit stressful, and it's so funny because my college roommate at the time was 2 years younger than me, and he like, man, I feel like I'm getting drafted. All these guys calling, I can't wait till it's my turn, and it was a cool process to where sometimes you would avoid the telephone because you didn't know who was going to be on the other end of that telephone, and this was some shade tree guys that I interviewed and talked to that was just like, oh my God. Never. And my pops would call me like, hey, so-and-so called me today. I did some research and I called the NFLPA. This guy's not even licensed. So if he call you again, just don't even answer the phone. I told him that we'll let him know what we're going to do after the season is all wrapped up and done and when we make our decision. And thank God, man, for my pops and how he kind of took the lead and he forced himself to learn something that he didn't know a lot about because he wanted to help me make the right decision. And when I did narrow it down to who I was going to go with, he said, "Hey, this is what you need to do. All these agents that you took meetings with, these agents that flew you to their hometowns to court you and try to get you, you need to reach out to those guys. Tell them your decision and why you made the decision you made, and thank them for wanting to represent you going forward to the NFL." And, I was young, 22 years old, and I'm like, I got to call these people and tell them that I don't want them. How, if I don't sign with them, they know. He said, no, you're going to learn now the process of what it takes. And this is what a man would do. So I picked up the phone. Every agent that I didn't sign with that flown me out, and it came down to like three. So I had like 3-4 people to call and let them know that I decided to go a different direction, make a different decision, and that it wasn't easy. And all these guys were really good people, but like I said, it worked out best. Pretty much had one agent my whole career that, like I said, under promised and over delivered all the time. Everything was always realistic. So that's just one part of my journey of this draft process. Was selecting that agent, was picking my Jerry Maguire, the guy that was going to help Big Game James stay focused, work on things for me behind the scenes, but also just educate me along the way. And that's what he did. I was educated about what goes on in the game, how it goes on, and what I should or shouldn't expect in the game. Next, part 2 is coming up. It'll be a little bit different. And then the third part will be draft day. So y'all get ready. As we get closer and closer to this NFL draft, Game's going to take you on this journey of what he went through along the way. Hey, again, thank you all so much for watching and checking this out. Remember, if you are watching this, like the content, go ahead, subscribe. I dare you. And then after that, click that bell so you get notified every time that we go on. I run 2 live shows every week, Big Game Sports Buzz and the Sports Chop Shop with my boys A. Reed and J-Stogs. Hot sports topics. You will never be disappointed, I promise. Thank you for tuning in, and go check out Totally Fresh. It's your boy, Big Game James, and this is my journey to the draft.